Hey guys, James here today and welcome to another building video here on my channel. Now, as promised from last time, this is not a starter home. I promised I'd build something bigger, and we are. So, if you've been watching my Sims 4 Get to Work Rags to Riches series, I built a very sort of industrial-inspired old factory that the character in that is, that's like her sort of art gallery, and I really loved the look of it. I really did. So I decided I wanted to build another one where I didn't have any budget and I could do whatever I wanted with it. So that's what I'm doing. So I think a few people thought, because I've already uploaded this to the gallery, so you can go jump over to the gallery now and download it. You can search my origin ID, which is the Sim Supply, the same as it is here on YouTube, or you can click the link in the description down below. I've linked directly to it on the gallery, so you can check it out there. Now, yeah, so this isn't Lady Big Wallet's Emporium. This is completely separate. I built this from scratch. It's not the same as hers at all. And this does not impose any sort of budgetary requirement. It's just me building what I wanted to build. Just messing about with the roof. I learned a little bit from doing the roof with Lady Big Wallets. I was just messing about with it and seeing what worked and sort of what didn't. And actually, I had a really interesting problem with this lot. When I first started building on it, there was a bit of the video at the beginning that doesn't exist anymore because I deleted it. But I originally started building, I just put down a single wall, and the game, no matter what I did, no matter what height the wall was, small, medium, or large, I couldn't put a door on it. It kept saying the wall was too small. The wall height was too small. What it turned out to be was that this lot in the game that I'm building on right now isn't actually flat. Like, it's very slightly off being a flat lot. Which is annoying considering there's no terrain editing in The Sims 4, so you can't level it out. And basically what that means is it glitched out with the doors and I couldn't put doors in properly. And it also, you'll notice there's a little bit later on where I'm doing some flooring outside and it wouldn't let me place it because it was slightly uneven. Just a little bit of a glitch, but I guess there's always hope that they're going to add terrain editing in the game because it's like the terrain isn't flat and the terrain does move, which you may see a little bit of it as I'm doing the floor tile later. It does move, so it's not like not in the game, it's just for some, I don't know, it's weird, I just haven't done it. Anyways, in that whole time I've just been messing around with the roof. I've got a couple of whirly birds up there to get the air to flow. It's an old factory. Got the windows in the side of the roof there because, you'd have like the little windows at the top of the roof. So all the hot air would flow up to the top, flow out of the windows because they would be open, and you have the whirly birds to get the hot air out. Beautiful, because it's supposed to be an old factory that has been renovated into a sort of classy, sort of upmarket kind of store. So again, just a lot of work on the roof here, trying to get it how I wanted it to be. It started to look a little bit barn-like at this point. And by that, I mean it kind of like sort of arches inward, which is not what I didn't want my factory to look like a barn, so I just changed that up a little bit, and then it was all good. Now going through and putting in these steel beams all around the build, very much like I did in the Rags to Riches series. So I've gone around and done all these on the outside and on the inside. It just adds such a nice little sort of gritty detail to it. It makes it look really, I don't know, it just adds that level of detail that makes it look a little bit more authentic. And we're getting the little windows up top, so it's kind of like, I don't know, factory-like is what it's like. On the front, we splashed out, got a bit of a fancy door. I was going to color it, make it like a bright red or something, but I thought, no, let's keep it a little bit more subtle. We'll get nice big windows on the front and that nice big new door as well, because I thought that looked quite cool. And this, I'm just adding a large sort of chimney-styled thing on the back. I wanted to use one of the actual chimneys in the game, but none of the brick colors on the chimneys matched. So I just built my own. I built a massive one as well. So trying to pick out what lights I want to do here. Now, there's going to be a lot of referencing to my Rags to Riches series here. So if you haven't seen it, this may be lost on you. But anyways, in my Rags to Riches series, I used the large new industrial lights on the second floor, and that was enough to light up the lower floor. But in this build, it's not, because in this particular build, on the ground floor, I've got the largest wall height, and then on the upper floor, I've got the regular wall height. And I think it's just too tall for the light to be able to travel all the way to the ground. So I had to come up with a different lighting solution, and it was actually kind of hard. You'll notice later on that it is actually quite dark in some places, but in the end, it is light enough. But it starts off quite dark with like lots of dark patches and all that kind of stuff. So what I've done, I've also built a basement level, you may have seen, and I put some fences around the side. So there's actually little gaps on the walls where you can see down to the lower level, which I thought was a cool little idea. And I'm building some catwalks up on this top level. You can't access this level at all. There's no stairs to it. It's just to add a little bit of detail to the build, so it looks cool. I think it looks really cool, adding all these sort of catwalks up the top here. And it also gives me a surface on the level below to actually hang some ceiling lights off, which is also sort of another reason why I built those catwalks. But I always wanted to put them in because I thought it would look really, really cool. Getting these brand new sort of, I don't know, stage lights that came with Get to Work in as well to light up the catwalk as well. Otherwise, it'd just be really, really dark. So I chucked in all those lights up there. And I actually used, you'll see me in a minute, I grab out the brand new rug, which is actually like an industrial grate. And because it joins completely seamlessly. It actually, first of all, I don't even know why this wasn't just a floor tile. Because it really should be. Because I used it like a floor tile. As you can see, I'm just putting it absolutely everywhere. Because it blends perfectly, like 100% seamless, no problems there. But I don't know. There's no floor tile for it, so I was just using the rug, and it made the little catwalks look a lot better as well. But I couldn't rotate it the other way because otherwise it'd look really weird and it wouldn't match up. So I had to make some of them 2 squares wide to accommodate it. So here's where I was testing out those lights, where I'm like, oh well, for some reason the light doesn't travel between the levels with these ones because I guess it's too high. So instead I hang them off the catwalks, as you can see I'm doing here. I didn't want to do too many, so I didn't want to cover the entire store with it because I always find, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I'm playing The Sims, any Sims game, 2, 3, 4, or 1, well, not so much 1, but whenever you have loads of like ceiling lights, they always just seem to annoy me. Like they're just in the way. Like, even though they do fade away when you get close enough to them, I feel like it's still quite annoying having loads of ceiling lights everywhere. So I try to not do too many of those. Here I am going around making sure those steel bars are inside. And you also noticed I was putting that other new light behind the steel bars. I did that in my Relaxer Richer series, and I think it's actually a really great way to get some hidden lighting going on. Instead of, like, I could have used the hidden or the invisible debug lights, but I didn't really want to use those. I wanted to try and light up the whole store just using actual lights that the game provides, which wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. But that's the current situation now. It's very dark. There's very dark patches in the middle, but you'll definitely see how that evolves over time as we get onto that. So going around doing more steel bars. I think this build too, if you wanted to buy this store, because of course you can just put this into your game as a regular store, and then your sim can visit the store and purchase the stuff there. So you could do that. Oh, I think if you wanted to buy it, I think it's like $240,000 or something like that. So it's not exactly cheap. You do have to save up for it. And here's where I was just opening up the lower level. That was actually a way that I combated the lighting problem. I just cut a hole in the floor instead of lighting it. So where that dark patch was, I just cut out a hole in the floor and put the stairs there. And it actually looks pretty good. And it's in a good spot as well. It's at the back of the store, not in the way. Anyways, I'm doing the trash section out here. Oh, here we go. You can see me. You may have seen it very, very briefly that the terrain actually popped up there a little bit when I was trying to put it in. I couldn't put flooring here. It would not let me. So the only way I could do it was actually build a room. So it's like a room, but with no walls, which is kind of weird. And then it would let me put the flooring down. I did actually post a GIF onto my Twitter of that floor of the terrain moving. So you can check out my Twitter if you wanna see that. But yeah, I don't know. That was just really annoying. So that's where the bathrooms are going to go on the right hand side. There's also I also add a little snack bar area. Not really a snack bar. It's just a couple of vending machines. I still add a couple of vending machines in the back there, so your customers can eat, or if you have any employees, they can go in there, grab a snack, and they should be fine. This is the sort of little trash area at the back. I wish we had dumpsters. That would be perfect. You could put a bunch of dumpsters around the back there. That would be really, really nice. So I turned this into a bunch of cubicles. So there's actually 4 toilets in there. Plenty of people can take a poop at the same time. No worries about that. Not that Sims usually do that. They will probably only ever be 1 at a time at most. But, it's a little bit more realistic to have more than 1 toilet in a store anyways. Use those brand new lights. I actually use a lot of the new items. I really do love a bunch of the new items. It actually looks really, really cool. And there's a bunch of these sort of new public bathroom things as well. There's paper towels, and there's also the hand sanitizer thing, which is really, really cool. And I chucked those in. And then what else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. Don't know what it was. I'm talking a million miles an hour. Yeah, that's the saying. Yeah, good. I'm talking so fast, I don't even know what I'm saying myself. So just getting the bathroom in. So they can go to the toilet here, which is good. No worries about that. So I didn't originally know what I wanted this store to be, because I didn't want it to be an art gallery, because that's what I'm doing in my Let's Play. I'm making an art gallery out of this sort of factory style. So it was kind of up to like a furniture store. There was, I guess, like an electronics store. You could do, I mean, anything from the catalog really. But as the main categories, furniture, electronics, or I guess clothing. The main one I did want to do was clothing. That was the main sort of store I wanted to do. But the only problem is there's so few items to actually make a clothing store. We have these new amazing mannequins that you can put any outfit on the game on them. You can just customize an outfit, put it on them, and you could also change their body shape, their body size, anything like that. It's really, really cool what you can do with the mannequins, but there's no other clothing item in the game that you could do a store with. It's really, really weird. There's no clothing racks. There's not even like folded clothes that you can put on a table. Besides the ones that come in the base game, those like folded shirts. Like the folded shirts and the mannequins are the only clothing related things that make sense. Of course, I did use some of the shoe racks and also some of the clothing racks as well. Not really clothing racks, but the sort of wardrobe. Oh, you'll see them when I put them in. But it's really weird that they would do those mannequins and not add in clothing store items. It's just really, really weird. And I tell you what, it makes it really hard to furnish a large store. If this was much smaller, if this was a smaller store, it would have been much easier to sort of do a clothes store and make it look decent. But with a store of this size, it's actually really hard to get it in. So to get lights in that area, I put in some more steel beams, and I got a couple of little floodlights, chucked them on the beams. And then up above here, I'm actually adding in some more catwalks, so it looks like those beams are holding up the catwalks in those positions. There was no way I could get rugs in there, so instead what I did, I just sort of did a metal flooring to somewhat blend in a little bit. I mean, it's not really that important upstairs because you can't go upstairs, so you'd probably rarely be looking at that level. This is also something I wish that worked, is being able to put mannequins on these sort of tables and pedestal kind of things. I mean, I did go around the store, and you'll see me doing it as I'm furnishing. I'm putting all the mannequins on these little tables using move objects. But the problem with that is, and I only found this out when I actually went to put clothes on them, because you need a sim to do that, is that they can't use them. they can't reach them because they're on that table. I mean, I guess if I maybe edged them closer to the side of the table or something, it would have worked, but I don't know. So then I ended up just putting them on the floor in the very end, because there's no point having mannequins if your Sims can't buy clothes off them, really. So I chucked that sort of sign up the top of the roof. I did want a bigger sign, but I don't know. I kind of like it being a small little sign up the top, because we only saw it very briefly a minute ago. But I wanted I wanted a bigger sign, but I guess a small sign looks quite nice as well. It's kind of elegant. It's like they don't need a big sign because they're such a well-known store. They don't need anything that big in terms of branding. Also, sorry if I sound a little bit off. My nose is still a little bit blocked. I think I mentioned this the other day. I don't know if I mentioned the other day, but I've got a little bit of a stuffed up nose. So if I sound any different, that's probably why. So I made sure to use all the beautiful bright colors of the mannequins. Went with all the colors. I think I had this red, purple, yellow, green, blue, pink, black, white. I don't know. I think that's all the colors I used. Yeah. So here's where I realized, there's no items. Yeah. So this is ended up being what I was going for in the end. I got the clothes racks on the wall behind, the little shirts on the table, little shoe racks underneath, but I think I actually changed it up a little bit as we go on. But it is nice. I do add a lot of details into it, and I think it does look really, really nice in the end. But the problem is there's not a lot of clothing related items, so it's kind of weird in that sense. Of course, we have a nice big mirror there, so you could try on a jacket or try on some shoes and check yourself out in the mirror. It's all good. So now I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the flooring, because we have this beautiful, large, polished concrete floor. And the floor I'm using right now is the one that sort of sheens in the light as you rotate the camera. And you can even see it there as I zoomed in on the floor. It's kind of shiny. And I really love that concrete, especially coupled with this industrial feel. But the flooring definitely needed something else. And I do go through and do that in a minute. It needs something else to sort of... Because otherwise, the big grey expanse of the floor just looks a little bit, So instead, I went through, got these really super shiny marble flooring. Really classed up the joint. At that point, that's what because I wasn't sure sort of what vibe I was going for, but at that point I was like, yeah, this is going to be a classy as hell place. You're going to want to go here with loads of money in your back pocket, ready to buy. So I'm using this new sort of little fence, carpet border sort of fence, or floor change fence, or whatever you call it. I don't know what it's actually called in the game or in reality. I was using it. I was going to use it like a bright color, like you saw, like a yellow or something, but it didn't really work. So I just went around with a black one in the end. You can't even see it. Like, it's there, but, well, I don't think there was really much point in putting it in. It's a little bit extra detail, but it's kind of annoying because if I joined that fence to the wall, like the outer wall, all the mannequins disappeared. I don't know, like all the items that I sort of use move objects to put in would disappear. So I was like, that makes my life a little bit harder. And I think it's somewhere around here, I decided that, I think the left-hand side of the store was going to be female and the right-hand side of the store was going to be male, because that kind of made sense to sort of separate the clothing sections, because that's what they do in real stores. So I was like, that would have been a great idea. So then I did that because I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So this is where I started separating. I moved the men's stuff onto the right and I leave the female stuff on the left. Got to segregate the clothing. Don't want it mixing together. Just be confusing. Made sure to use like lots of pops of color in this build as well. Like, as you can see, with those bright rugs, and then with all the mannequins as well, because the walls and the floor are sort of like it's sort of just bland kind of color, and especially the floor is gray. The walls are all brick. So I wanted to add color through the plants. As you can see, I've done loads of plants around the place, and also through all the sort of items. I wanted to make sure it's like really colorful, sort of just a really cool place to just visit, I guess, for your Sims. To hang out, do some clothes shopping, have a good time. That's what it's all about. Wow, a lot of zooming in and out here. I think I was trying to see which colors of mannequins I had, because I wanted to make sure I didn't want to do the same color mannequin. I want to make sure it was all colorful. I was trying to put that little plant on top of the shelves there, but I couldn't get it on there. Those shelves there in the middle, I really love those as well, as sort of industrial vibe to them. I don't know, there's just so many great industrial items in Get to Work. I guess because most of the stuff is suited toward the scientist career, where they have that sort of desert laboratory that's has all this sort of really industrial kind of feel to it. That's kind of like a little factory kind of place as well. So that's where all those cool items come from. And I absolutely love it. I've always loved this sort of style as well. It's really, really cool. But yeah, so just going through I think we've almost finished the top floor here. And I was really upset. Before I tell you why I was upset, I was going to do all these shoe racks on top of these little pedestals. But then I got to thinking, well, if Sims actually want to go around and buy these, they wouldn't be able to interact with them on top of those little pedestal things. So I should probably put them on the floor, so that Sims, if you want to, whoever owns this store, if you want to set it for sale, then you could, and people could actually buy it without there being like a glitch or anything. Excuse me. I think I was just trying to find some more little decorative items that I could put around the place. And I found that weird squiggly thing, so I chucked it behind there. Also, that skeleton. I was going to put a giant skeleton at the back of the store. I thought, maybe not. I did do two beautifully large windows that matched the front door. I felt like those could have been put in when they renovated the store, so they put in these brand new windows. And then I was just going through the catalog, seeing what else there was. Because, just need some decorative items to make the place look awesome. Then I realized I hadn't done any seating, because of course you need the husband chair for him to sit down when he's tired and he's waiting, or the boyfriend chair, or the, I don't know, just pretty much male in general chair when we get bored of clothes shopping. Because it's like, I know, I personally, oh god, I'm just like, if I'm going shopping for something, I know what I'm getting before I go, so I'm like, yep, go get that and go home, done. That's all the shopping I need to do. I am not one to spend hours and hours perusing a store, I'll tell you what. But anyways, yeah, that's putting some chairs in. Of course, making all the chairs very colorful as well. We have like oranges and pinks. I think I do some blue chairs here and there as well to make it look nice and bright. There's also that little white sofas there. There's orange in the break room, I think there was as well. Just plenty of colors. Just really bringing in the color through all the objects. So yeah, we've got these shelves here, putting all these sort of like beauty care products like perfumes and soaps and that kind of stuff on these shelves. Now, I don't know if they can actually buy stuff off that middle shelf, because the shelf is actually facing toward the wall. and it's sort of like merged in with that big, I don't know, circle hole thing. I don't know if they can actually use that, but I don't know. It's there, and it's a little bit of extra detail. So whether they can use it or not, I do not know. I really like that poster as well, that sort of fashion poster there. So I got a couple of those, one in a different color on the other side. Just adds that extra oomph to the upper level. So we're really coming to a close on this top level very shortly. Yep, that was it. I think... I don't know. Oh, yeah. So I found these sort of outdoor street lights earlier on. I was like, those are kind of cool. And because that area was still really dark around the middle there, got 4 of those, put them on the poles there. I thought that was a cool idea. Anyways, here we are moving downstairs. Now, this is why I got really sad. You'll see it in a minute. But of course, we're going around adding all our steel bars first. That's the first thing we got to do. Got to get all those steel beams in there. This is a renovated factory. It used to be very industrial. Not so much anymore. It's a high-end clothes store. Or is it? That's the question. Anyways, so just... I got rid of those lights. I'm going back around now and putting them back in because I actually needed them to be able to see what I was doing. Now, the original plan was to have the lower level as a children's clothing area. So naturally, make it beautiful, colorful, get all these really nice bright colors, bring it to life. You'll see me doing that just now. And I thought it was coming along really, really nicely. I was very, very happy. And I thought it looked really good. And then, oh yeah, the other cool thing, yeah, get those. I love those plumb bobs, and especially I thought it added even more color in those areas. And then I got a bunch of these pedestals around the sides there to get some mannequins in a bit. And then, oh yeah, that tree there as well. I thought that really just added the icing on the cake there, chucking those in. I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. And then get the mannequin and, oh, what does that say? Oh no. You can only have 10 mannequins a lot, and I've already placed 10. Well, that's sad. Even with move objects, could not place another mannequin. So, no children's clothing in this store, unfortunately. Instead, yeah, that was kind of upsetting. I did not realize you could only have 10 mannequins. And by the time I'd already designed the upstairs, I didn't really want to have to change the way I did the upstairs. I guess I could have got rid of a few mannequins, but it would have been compromising. I didn't want to compromise the upstairs because I was really happy with it. So instead, we just turned the downstairs into sort of a toy store. So mom and dad can shop upstairs. I don't know. And the kids can come downstairs, browse the toys, have a bit of fun, come down to the colourful basement where they belong, in the basement. So they can come downstairs and shop for toys, So there's lots of toys down here. I've also got another cash register there, as you saw. Unfortunately, that means nothing because cash registers don't do anything in this game. But I think it makes it look a little bit more realistic to have a cash register down here as well. And of course, I do actually go around later on and put in security cameras, which is a really nice little detail that they have in this game. It's just a little surveillance camera that you could, CCTV camera you can put in your stores. So getting some nice big tables there that I could just put a bunch of toys on it, really. So I was just going through the catalog trying to find all this stuff. Selling all the gnomes. I presume you can sell the gnomes. I don't see why not. So I put a bunch of them on the table. If you want to come and buy a gnome, come to Industry is the name of this build, because Industrial, I think, is the name of this build, actually, because I couldn't come up with a better name, Anyways, I was placing the train on the ground there because I was wondering how long it was. So I was like, oh, could we fit this on the wall? So we get a nice train chilling out on the sort of the shelves at the back here. Just a nice little detail. Don't know if they would be able to buy those. They might have an issue trying to access it, but you could always try. I mean, I haven't tested out this store as a store. Like I didn't open it and sell stuff, but most of the stuff should work. But some of the things that use move objects might have a little bit of a problem, like for Sims trying to access. So I guess it's probably wise to test some of that stuff out. But all the stuff on the tables and stuff that are placed just normally should be just fine. So getting all these little model cars and all these little toys, just filling out the table. But one thing I found out is those cars do not have a lot of colors. They have like 3 colors: gold, green, and blue, and black, and white. But each of them only have 3 colors. Each of those like little vehicle toys only have 3 colors, which actually made it very hard to sort of decorate that little table. Like that table looks really dull. Like of all the things that you'd think would be very colorful, you'd think toys would be. But anyways, so here I'm putting all the little security cameras around the place. Just keeping an eye on you, making sure you're not stealing. What did I put on that table? I can't even remember what I put on that table. Let's see. Oh, I'm going through the debug menu because I'm pretty sure debug items actually go through the gallery now. And if they don't, well, oopsie daisies. But I don't think I use anything from the debug menu. Oh yeah, I find the giant doll houses, which I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. We've got all these corners. Let's chuck them in there. We've got these weird corners to fill out. Tons of helicopters in there. Little horses. Oh, I love those giraffes. Did not realize it had like a rainbow color. I was like so excited by that. I was like, that's awesome. Let's scale it up and put it there. So it like sticks its little head up out of the basement into the main build. I thought it was really, really cool. I don't know. I enjoyed those giraffes when I found out that rainbow recolor. Did not know that existed. But yeah, just generally making it look like a little bit of fun down here for the kids. So they can come down and have fun and chill out, check out all the toys. Make sure you set them for sale, otherwise the kids will play with them. So make sure you do mark them for sale. Yeah, just putting a bunch of chairs in the middle to sit down. A nice big bed. And I think we're pretty close to being done here. I think I just go around, do a few like mirrors and that kind of stuff. And I think I do a pathway outside. There's not so much in the way of landscaping. I think I do a pathway and then just add a few items out the front of the store to make it look more store-like up the top. But yeah, that pretty much concludes the interior. Almost. I keep saying that, but we're not there yet. So again, don't forget that the download link, you can click the link in the description. That will take you straight to the download, and you can add it into your game that way. It's already on the gallery. My origin name is the Sim Supply, just so you don't forget. It's real. I try to keep it really simple, like my origin name. It's the exact same as this channel, just without spaces. Anyways, so just doing a pathway around to the bins, so you could bring the bin to the front. And here we are at the front of the store. We're just going to add in some signs and lights and a little bit of foliage. I was going to do a sign on the ground there. Thought that would be a cool idea. But you could only rotate that sign at 45 degrees or 90, and you couldn't do... I was hoping you could hold down Alt and rotate it at any angle, but you couldn't. So that was really quite upsetting. I do not like that. But yeah, so we just got some nice big plants there and a couple of street lights, which I thought looked really nice. Just class up the joint a little bit, And then we get some wall lights outside to light up that pathway for the employees taking the bins out. Here we are in the screenshots. Here's the front of the store. So you can see all the exterior. We're gonna zoom around the outside of the store first, so you can get a really good feel for the sort of factory vibe. I tried to keep it really just pretty basic factory on the outside. Nothing too classy on the exterior. Oh, but you wait till we get inside. That's where it gets a little bit more exciting. Oh, there's the beautiful bins out the back there. I actually really quite like that. It's simple yet elegant. And here's the side shot there with all the lights and all that kind of stuff. Here's the front of the store. Now we're going to jump in. There's going to be a bunch of screenshots. We're going to go around the ground floor here first. So there's the front of the store. And then when we're done zipping around the ground floor here, you'll see some photos from above of the catwalks. Now, one thing that really bothers me in the Sims 4 is I can't change the color of the ceiling because I definitely would have not left it white. Because that doesn't make any sense. It should be like an industrial sort of metal kind of grate on the ceiling. But unfortunately, I couldn't do anything about that. So it just had to stay like that. But the good news is when you're playing the game, you don't look upward. So that's fine. You won't see it. But yeah, so this is the ground floor. I think it turned out really, really awesome. For a store that I didn't know what the hell I was going to place in it in terms of clothing items because there are none. I think it turned out pretty well. So we're just going to get a few little close-up shots there of the mannequins on the side. Yeah, here's looking up, looking down from above through all the catwalks. I think it just has a really cool sort of feel to it. I think it just looks awesome with that. So that extra sort of detail that isn't really necessary, but just, I think, finishes it off quite nicely. So here we are looking down into the basement from the top level with those beautiful rainbow giraffes. I did not know those existed. And just another shot down there into the basement. And then we'll jump into the actual basement. Here we go. Yeah, again, I would not have left that ceiling white because it doesn't make any sense. It should have been like a concrete, but couldn't change it. So, you got to live with it. You got to live with it. But again, you don't look up when you're playing the game, so it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, just having a look at all these little toys around the place. A bunch of mirrors as well. I don't know. I think it's really nice and colorful. It would have been good to have it as a little clothing area, but I couldn't, so we had to compromise a little bit. But here's a few sort of floor plan / overhead shots, so you can see what it's like if you were to actually play the game. So there's the overhead shot of the ground floor and the overhead shot of the catwalks, and then I'll show you like a different angle so you can see what it's like to play the game. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Of course, again, the download link is in the description down below, or you can search me on the gallery. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, and have an awesome day.